How's it going, everybody? I'm Stella Chung, and this is the Weekly Fix, the show where we round up all the gaming and entertainment headlines you may have missed this week. Baldur's Gate 3 just released, and some very interesting features are shocking players. Plus, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 officially has its release date. In the entertainment world, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is hitting digital platforms, and we have some details about the Ben Affleck Batman movie that never was. Good to see you all, and it's news in time. Baldur's Gate 3 is jump-scaring players during character creation with full nudity. Right at the start of the game, a warning pops up asking if you want to turn nudity off. If you leave it on or overlook that screen, you'll be in for, an eyeful. Baldur's Gate 3 has an incredible character customization system that lets you detail your character with the most intricate adjustments. And of course, in that system, that also includes different types of genitals. Clicking the toggle hide clothes has very literal results, and it will hide all clothes. Usually that option would just reveal your character's body with underwear on, but in Baldur's Gate 3, that just Thanos snaps all clothing away, underoos included. I won't spoil the options for people, but let's just say things get very detailed. But be warned, some high-profile streamers are getting caught with their pants down, quite literally. Shroud was live creating his character on Twitch yesterday and found out what the hide clothes button does. Miss Mika, yes, that Mika who beat Elden Ring with a dance pad, was shocked to see her fully nude character, and Anne Fuchsia screamed after accidentally flashing her chat with her character's birthday suit. So if you're streaming, definitely be aware of this button showing a little more than you probably want it to. But also be forewarned that the character creation screen isn't the only thing in the game that might be too hot for Twitch. This shouldn't be too much of a surprise though. Before launch, developer Larian Studios revealed that you can have sex with the druid in bare form. That definitely set the tone for how Baldur's Gate 3 would go down. See what I did there? You like that? No? Okay, great. Senior writer John Corcoran said, spent the past week or so doing final tests on some companion romance arcs, and damn, I'm still surprised at just how horny this game is. Bear's got nothing on what's still to come. So I guess you could say that's just the tip of the iceberg. Let's be real, all RPG fans love some good romance, and Baldur's Gate 3 has plenty of options and paths for those looking for love. There are 12 classes and a multitude of party members you can gather and characters you can meet. Larian's last project, Divinity Original Sin 2, had multiple romance options, but Baldur's Gate seems like it'll top that, considering it boasts around 174 hours of cinematics. Corcoran also added, don't get me wrong, it's also affecting, funny, gripping, and worthy of any number of superlatives you can dream up. But also mainstream, big budget horny in a way I thought went extinct in the mid-90s in movies, and may never have been seen in games of this scale. In case you're not convinced that this game is in fact so horny, one of the voice actors Larian hired was hired exclusively for making sexy noises. Actor Alex Jordan revealed on TikTok that he was asked if he wanted to voice act for Baldur's Gate 3, and when he asked what role he would play, they said, no, not a role. We've finished recording all that stuff, I'm afraid. No, what we need is sexy sounds. Jordan said, it was very awkward as I made sounds like and ah, and then I kissed my hand a whole lot. So you think about that. You mull that over as you run around, you little horny perverts, with your little perverted role plays, you randy bastards. End quote. Those are his words, not mine. I think that's going to be the only thing I think about during those scenes now, though. Thanks, Jordan, for ruining my future romance scenes. The sounds are brought to you by a dude making out with his hand like high schoolers trying to figure out how to kiss properly before prom. That's honestly going to be a little hard to forget. Cutting it kind of close, but the next Call of Duty game has been revealed with a release date. The next title is Modern Warfare 3, and it'll be released November 10th later this year. Call of Duty released a teaser trailer confirming the title and release date, but also added a few extra lines of dialogue from returning characters. Captain Price says something about cutting the heads off snakes. I don't really actually know what he said there. He's murmuring. You'd think he'd know how to speak up, but anyways. Shadow Company boss Philip Graves is heard saying, never bury your enemies alive. Glad to see Graves survive the events of Modern Warfare 2. The teaser then shows a red waveform image of Vladimir Makarov, the main villain of the original Call of Duty Modern Warfare series. You know, the guy who tells you remember no Russian, and attacks an airport full of civilians. In Modern Warfare 2's post-credits, there was a cinematic of a man on a commercial flight putting together a gun and sending a text out saying ready, followed by a reply text saying no Russian. The man then dunks his phone in a glass and stands up with a group of other terrorists and ready their guns. So yeah, it's all pointing to Makarov being the big bad again. The teaser also showed a phone number that would send a text saying "comm secured" / major conflict incoming. A lot of opportunity. We need someone like you with experience in Al-Mazrah. Are you able to receive sensitive intel? Yes or no? If you answered yes, then you'd get the response good. Expect mission critical intel, a taste of what's to come. You'd also get an additional image of an overhead map with several targets pointing to a central circle. This could be a hint to what players might expect in Warzone for the live in-game reveal event taking place August 17th. Data miners found references to a banner stating worldwide reveal of Modern Warfare 3 August 17th in Warzone in the game files. There's not a whole lot else to go on yet, but hopefully that worldwide reveal event will show an in-depth look at Modern Warfare 3 since November isn't that far away now. It's not the remake or remaster we wanted, but Rockstar announced that Red Dead Redemption, the first game, and its add-on Undead Nightmare are coming to PlayStation 4 and Nintendo Switch on August 17th. Red Dead Redemption was only ever available on the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. UK developer Double 11 Studios is porting Red Dead to PS4 and the Switch with PS5 backwards compatibility supported. Unfortunately, the port isn't a remaster or remake, but a quote, conversion. It does include new language support like simplified and traditional Chinese, Korean, Polish, Brazilian Portuguese, Russian, and Latin American Spanish. It costs $49.99 on the Nintendo Switch eShop and PlayStation Store and will have physical versions releasing October 13th. While this is pretty good news for PS5 and Switch players, even if the PS5 version is really the PS4 version, PC and Xbox players are a little out of luck. There was no mention of PC or Xbox versions, but Red Dead Redemption's base game is already available on the Xbox One and Series XS through backwards compatibility for $29.99. If you want the Undead Nightmare add-on pack for Xbox, you'll need to buy it for an additional $9.99, which brings it up to the $49.99 price point of the PS4 and Switch versions. But PC getting shafted on a Red Dead Redemption port really sucks. I would love to try and mod it out to match Red Dead Redemption 2's quality, but also, I don't want to play it on a console. Anyways, I was hoping we'd be able to get news of a Red Dead Redemption remake or proper next-gen console remaster, but I guess the Switch and PS5 players can enjoy the port. Earlier this week, Rockstar Games and parent company Take-Two finally confirmed the rumors and announced that Red Dead Redemption will be making its way to newer consoles. The catch? It's not a remaster or remake, and it's not coming to PC. Oh, and also, it's $50. The internet was not kind to the announcement, bashing Take-Two and Rockstar on social media, claiming this is just a port of the PS3/Xbox 360 game for PS4 and Switch. And they might not be wrong, since this version does not support 4K resolution if you're playing on a PS5, and probably the most baffling thing, no 60 FPS. The game is locked at the original 30 frames. It does come with the acclaimed Undead Nightmare DLC, so I guess that's something. Anyways, in an earnings call yesterday, IGN asked Take-Two CEO Strauss Zelnick why this port of a 13-year-old game is being released at full price for $50. His response was, quote, "That's just what we believe is the commercially accurate price for it." Take-Two's Executive Vice President of Finance, Hannah Sage, chimed in, pointing out that this release also includes Undead Nightmare, to which Zelnick said the DLC was, quote, "a great standalone game in its own right when it was originally released. So we feel like it's a great bundle for the first time and certainly a great value for consumers." The price point does match what you'd pay now if you bought Red Dead and Undead Nightmare from the Xbox store. However, it's important to note that the Xbox version does get a free upgrade to 4K via the One X and Series X backwards compatibility. Rockstar hasn't exactly endeared themselves to fans recently, as their last re-release, the 2021 remaster of the PS2 era GTA trilogy, was not well received. That collection was plagued with bugs and performance issues and was also criticized for its price. However, that collection wasn't just a port, and substantial changes were made to the original game, with updated textures and lighting. For the most part, the changes were improvements, though the finished product left a lot to be desired. There's no word yet on a PC release for this Red Dead Redemption collection, but Zelnick is leaving that decision to Rockstar. So, are you still planning on getting this re-release of Red Dead? Honestly, the draw of playing this in handheld mode on Switch is almost enough for me to consider getting this. Almost. But let me know what you think in the comments.
The Pokemon Presents event for August 2023 has concluded, and it featured 35 minutes of brand new Pokemon announcements. At the start of the event, we got a first look at Pokemon Path to the Peak, a new animated short series focused on the official Pokemon trading card game. The series will premiere at the Pokemon World Championships, which begins later this week. We already knew we were getting a sequel to the Nintendo 3DS game Detective Pikachu. Today we got the first trailer, which introduces some characters along with some gameplay. Most notably, the sequel will allow you to investigate various crime scenes. Detective Pikachu returns on October 6th for Nintendo Switch. We got a first look at Pokemon Horizons, the series. While not much was shared, we do know it will be set in the Paldea region. A release date has not been announced, but it is coming soon. Nearly a year after Pokemon Scarlet and Violet were released, Pokemon Go is finally getting pocket monsters that are native to the Paldea region. These Pokemon will be available starting next month. The Pokemon trading card game and Pokemon Stadium 2 are coming to the Nintendo Switch online subscription service today. Pokemon Trading Card Game is available now for those with a Nintendo Switch Online subscription, and those with Switch Online Plus Expansion Pack have access to that in addition to Pokemon Stadium 2. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet players can add Mew and Mewtwo into their collection. You can obtain Mew now by entering the password GetYourMew in the mystery gift menu in Scarlet or Violet, but the password is only valid until September 18th, so don't wait too long to redeem the code. Mewtwo will be available via a Terra Raid battle beginning September 1st. We got our first look at Pokemon Paldean Winds, a new anime series set in the Paldea region. Much like the games it is based on, Scarlet and Violet, Paldean Winds will focus on a student who wants to become a Pokemon trainer. It airs September 6th. And we got an extended look at gameplay for the Teal Mask, the first of 2 paid DLC expansions coming to Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. The presentation introduced 2 new characters and confirmed that those that play the expansion will have a chance to catch a handful of new Pokemon not already available in the base game for Scarlet and Violet. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet: The Teal Mask arrives September 13th. Nintendo has outlined upcoming Nintendo Switch exclusives and still lists the long-absent Metroid Prime 4 as a Switch game. As part of its latest financial report, Nintendo listed all the upcoming and announced games coming to the Switch. Notably, the list includes Metroid Prime 4, which still carries a temporary title and TBA release date. The full list is Detective Pikachu returns on October 6th, Super Mario Bros. Wonder on October 20th, WarioWare Move It on November 3rd, Super Mario RPG on November 17th. Looking into next year, Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon is for 2024. Princess Peach will star as the main character in a brand new game, that's a temporary title for now, for 2024. And finally, Metroid Prime 4, TBA. It's at least nice to see Nintendo acknowledge Metroid Prime 4. It has suffered a tumultuous development since it was announced 6 years ago in 2017. Development was restarted in 2019 with the help of Retro Studios, developer of the original Metroid Prime games. At that time, Nintendo said it took the decision because the 4th entry, quote, has not reached the standards we seek in a sequel to the Metroid Prime series. Nintendo has been silent on Metroid Prime 4 ever since, leading some to speculate the game was either in development hell or had moved focus to launch on the Switch's next-gen successor, rumored to launch in late 2024. Since Nintendo itself still lists it as a Switch title, perhaps the company plans to re-reveal it later this year as its final Nintendo Switch game and a next-gen launch title, much like Breath of the Wild was the last Wii U game from Nintendo, as well as a Switch launch game. I do still want Metroid Prime 4, but I have to echo all the IGN commenters who are asking, where the heck is Super Mario Odyssey 2?
It's time to take a quick break. When we come back, visual effects artists at Disney are attempting to unionize, and Across the Spider-Verse is hitting digital platforms. See you in a bit. Welcome back. A lot of new details have emerged regarding the solo Batman film starring Ben Affleck that almost happened. But first, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is now on digital platforms. Let's find out some more. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is web-slinging onto digital platforms on August 8th. Spider-Man fans can download the second chapter of the Spider-Verse saga on platforms like Prime Video, Apple TV, and YouTube next week. The release comes with exclusive bonus features including commentary from the filmmakers, lyric videos of the songs featured in the movie, and a deleted scene with Miguel O'Hara, aka Spider-Man 2099. Also, aka my digital husband. If you want to wait for the Blu-ray and 4K UHD versions, they will be released on September 5th. Across the Spider-Verse has performed tremendously well at the box office since its theatrical release 2 months ago, even more so than Into the Spider-Verse. Miles Morales and Friends raked in over $500 million worldwide compared to $400 million for their first film. In our 8 out of 10 review, we said it surges with visual intentiveness and vibrance in an undeniably strong evolution of the style established in Into the Spider-Verse. Moving on, Suicide Squad director David Ayer has indicated James Gunn is on board with releasing the Ayer cut at some point, though he is currently busy working on the DCU's Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters. Ayer reignited discussions about the director's cut of the widely panned Suicide Squad after posting an image of Jared Leto's Joker from the 2016 film on X, formerly known as Twitter. I'm still calling it Twitter, by the way. The photo didn't include a caption, prompting some fans to question why he shared it. Ayer responded by elaborating on the situation as it currently stands. It sounds like it's definitely still a sore subject for the filmmaker. He wrote, "What's your advice on how to navigate this situation with grace? There's a genuine curiosity and interest from a lot of people," Ayer wrote. "And I'm aware of there being another group of people that have fun mocking the film. Your comment is a perfect example of how many are magnetically drawn to discussion to the 2016 film in a negative way. Have you ever had an experience in life that didn't turn out the way you wanted, that dragged you, that made you rethink everything? I have. All I know is my unseen film plays much better than the studio release. The interest in my cut being shown seems real and organic, and Gunn told me it would have its time to be shared. He absolutely deserves to launch his DC universe without more drama about old projects. In a way, I'm chained to this thing. I'm riding a tiger here and navigating the situation the best I can. Life is a very strange journey." Over the years, Ayer has detailed some of the differences between his original cut of Suicide Squad and the one released in theaters, including its alternate main villain, stronger ties to Justice League, and more of Jared Leto's Joker. And finally today, I Am Groot, the collection of shorts that star our favorite Flora Colossus from Guardians of the Galaxy, is returning for a second season on Disney Plus on September 6th. I Am Groot's second season will feature 5 shorts and will see him, quote, exploring the universe and beyond aboard the Guardian spaceships, coming face to face or nose to nose with new and colorful creatures and environments. The trailer for I Am Groot's second season teases parts of Groot's new adventures, including a run-in with an ice cream truck spaceship, a close call with the Watcher from Marvel's What If, making hot cocoa, getting a nose, and more. Vin Diesel will once again voice Groot, and Kristen Lepore will return as both writer and director. In a review of I Am Groot's first season, we said it is daft and devious, owning its non-essential existence and leaning into baby Groot's own impetuous, unruly behavior. Once upon a time, Ben Affleck played Batman in a bunch of movies where he had to share co-billing with at least one other superhero. His debut came in Zack Snyder's Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice, where he faced off against Henry Cavill's Superman. Although the movie was met with mixed reception, Affleck's performance as Bruce Wayne and Batman was considered a high point. Plans were made for Affleck to not only return as the Dark Knight in a solo movie, but the star was also slated to direct as well. This was even teased in the team-up movie Justice League, in which the post-credits scene featured Deathstroke, who was to appear in the solo Batman flick. A lot of behind-the-scenes drama ensued that effectively canned Affleck's movie, but we never found out what the movie was actually going to be about. In an interview with Inverse, filmmaker and artist Jay Oliva gave just the briefest of teases of what could have been. Oliva has worked as a director on many DC animated films and as a storyboard artist for Snyder's Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman. He also did work on Affleck's Batman movie. Oliva said, quote, Ben's story was going to cover something that had never really been covered in comics, but was building off of storylines in the Batman mythos over the last 80 years and approaching it from a new kind of perspective. It was very clever, and there were a lot of things about it that I really loved that I wish had come to fruition. I can't really say too much other than it was awesome. So not really a lot to go on, but we know it involved Deathstroke, who is a relatively late addition to Batman's 80-year legacy, making his first comic appearance in 1980. Back in 2017, Affleck gave an interview to The Direct as part of the promotional tour for Justice League, and he further teased Deathstroke as the main villain, but also hinted that we could have seen a rogues gallery of bad guys going against Batman. Affleck said, quote, either you do a kind of massive one villain that is so formidable you just can't imagine how your protagonist is going to be able to overcome it, or you have to really sort of populate kind of, Injustice, these big group villains where you have to get all these different characters. Deathstroke could go toe-to-toe with Batman and give him a run for his money, but given the villain's mercenary background, it's also easy to see him being part of another villain's master plan. Alas, plans for this particular film have been scrapped, so we'll never know for sure. New DC studio heads James Gunn and Peter Safran already have plans for a rebooted Batman movie, and it does not involve Ben Affleck. But maybe in another multiverse, we'd be watching Batman vs. Deathstroke, or whatever it would have been called. Who do you want to see Batman square off against in a live-action movie? Let me know in the comments. Jumping from a canceled DC movie to a Marvel one, we now have a few more details on what could have been a sequel to 2008's The Incredible Hulk. You know, that Ed Norton one. Speaking with comicbook.com, director Louis Leterrier shared his vision for the sequel. He confirmed it was going to be further rooted in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which the first movie did via its post-credit scene featuring Robert Downey Jr., and would have had multiple Hulks. Leterrier said, quote, "There was like Grey Hulk, Red Hulks, there was a lot of good stuff that we were planning. Hulk is a complex character within the Marvel Universe. You want the Primeval Hulk, the Rage Hulk, and then when you go Grey Hulk and Smart Hulk, you lose that a little bit and you get more kiddish with it." In Marvel lore, Grey Hulk is known as the Smart Hulk, which we ended up getting a version in Avengers Endgame. Red Hulk in the comics is not Bruce Banner, but General Thaddeus Ross, an adversary of Banner's and the father of his love interest, Betsy Ross. We haven't seen the Red Hulk in the MCU yet, but Ross will be appearing in the upcoming Captain America: Brave New World, played by Harrison Ford. Earlier this year, comicbook.com asked Ford if he'd be turning into the Red Hulk, to which the actor responded, "What is the Red Hulk?" But still, we're willing to bet we'll see some kind of Hulk in that flick. Switching gears for our final story, multi-hyphenate artist Lin-Manuel Miranda will be remaking Walter Hill's 1979 cult classic, The Warriors, but not into another movie. No, not even as a series for a streaming service. Yes, the cult classic 70s film about a gang running from other gangs through New York City is being reworked into a stage musical. Not a whole lot of details about the project are available, but according to Variety, a source close to Miranda has confirmed his involvement and that this version will align more closely with the original 1965 novel by Sol Urich. Still, we're hoping it'll feature a scene where someone clangs glass bottles together with their fingers. I mean, come on, it is an iconic scene.
Visual effects employees at Marvel Studios are attempting to form the industry's first ever VFX union. Today, over 50 VFX workers at Marvel joined together to file for a union election at the National Labor Relations Board. The group will be represented by the International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees, or IATSE. The VFX organizer for IATSE, Mark Patch, said, "For almost half a century, workers in the visual effects industry have been denied the same protections and benefits their coworkers and crewmates have relied upon since the beginning of the Hollywood film industry. This is an historic first step for VFX workers coming together with a collective voice demanding respect for the work we do." The struggles of VFX workers have been well documented over the last few years. Just last month, we reported on how strikes across the entertainment industry are impacting VFX artists who are facing an uncertain future as Hollywood has ground to a halt. In that story, multiple VFX workers pointed out the lack of a union. Specific complaints have also been lobbied at Marvel's treatment of VFX workers in recent years. An artist who worked on Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania said human greed led to VFX problems on Marvel projects, while another anonymous VFX worker told IGN last year that Marvel projects tend to run all the way to the very end, causing long hours and intensely stressful working conditions. The VFX artist said at the time, "You basically run out of time to work on these things. I had a shot that I worked on that I finished at 9 in the morning, and they had a preview in London that evening. The version that I worked on that day was the version they were going to see at the premiere. It's up to the wire, and not to say that every show is like that, but it does happen." This new push from VFX workers to unionize comes as the entertainment industry is at a standstill. Writers in the Hollywood studios met this week for the first time since the strike began in May, but no agreement was reached. And speaking of the strike, Sony has cut its movie business forecast as a result. Earlier this month, Warner Bros. Discovery said it expects a return to work date in early September, but the recent meeting between the WGA and the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers to discuss contract negotiations ended in a stalemate with no immediate return to talks planned. Sony said sales from its movie business will now be lower than it forecast in April, primarily due to the impact of the strikes. Sony expects the strikes to lead to lower revenues, mainly due to movie and TV show delays. Sony has revised its movie sales forecast down 3%, although its operating income prediction remains the same. For the 3-month period ending June 30th, Sony Pictures suffered a 6% decrease in sales and a 68% decrease in operating income. Still, it saw strong performance of films released theatrically in the period. Sony's biggest hit was Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which pulled in $591 million at the global box office. In July, Sony delayed a number of movies, including the untitled Ghostbusters Afterlife sequel and Kraven the Hunter. Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse was removed from the schedule entirely. A Karate Kid reboot has also been delayed, with Blumhouse's They Listen delayed indefinitely. Finally, sequels to Bad Boys and Venom now have summer 2024 release dates. Invincible creator Robert Kirkman is fully aware that it's taken a while for Season 2 to arrive, but swears you'll never have to wait so long for another season of the Prime Video series ever again. It was announced during last month's San Diego Comic-Con that Invincible Season 2 will be debuting on November 3rd with 4 episodes, with the second half of the season coming in early 2024. That marks a gap of more than 2 years in between Invincible's first and second seasons. When explaining why Season 2 took so long during an interview with IGN, Kirkman pointed to a number of factors. A lot of naps, he joked. But seriously, he said, "No, I mean, it was the worst possible timing with the series launching in the middle of the pandemic and ramping back up to start Season 2 and Season 3, and also putting systems in place so that this doesn't happen again. That was a Herculean task. The production of an animated series is a factory, and when you shut that factory down, it takes a long time to ramp it back up. And we wanted to ramp it back up in a way that would ensure that we don't have a delay like this ever again, and so that's been the goal." He added that a lot of it was the pandemic and working with the overseas studios in the pandemic and figuring out different ways to manage all that kind of stuff, and that every delay just compounded on top of one another. He concluded, "But the good news is all of the work that was done in this time is ensuring that that is the longest gap that anyone will ever have to wait between seasons of Invincible." When asked how far along the team is on work on Season 3, Kirkman said it's very, very, very far along, but animation, there's always steps that could extend the process. We also pressed Kirkman about the live-action Invincible movie, which Kirkman confirmed all the way back in 2021, but we've gotten few updates on since. While the project isn't dead, Kirkman said nothing's currently happening because of the strikes, so yeah.
I'm Stella Chung, and that was your weekly fix. We'll be back here next Saturday with more of the biggest gaming and entertainment news of the week. See you then.